Event at Children's Hospital Oakland. It's a fundraiser in which some people shave their heads to show their solidarity with children who are battling cancer.
For more on this, we are joined live in studio by Dr. Caroline Hastings, who is a pediatric oncologist at Benioff Children's Hospital in Oakland. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
This is about raising money for an important cause, and I think about research. I think about the survival rate of children who are diagnosed compared to, say, the 50s or the 60s to what we are experiencing today. And it's better. It's much better. It could be better always, but compared to the 50s and 60s. And that, to me, just shows how important it is for research and the money needed for it.
You're right. So at this point, we can expect about 1 in 5 children will not survive cancer, but that's more than 80% of children and teenagers that are diagnosed now that will survive. Still, it's more than surviving. About 2/3 of these kids do have late effects as a result of their treatment. They may lose their sight or their vision, or their hearing. They may also have heart disease or lung disease or other chronic problems.
Later in life.
Later in life. And many times they may even develop another cancer. So research is really important. We've come a long way. You're right. In the 50s, probably hardly any child survived cancer, but now the majority of them will survive.
Research is one aspect of it. The medical aspect is another. There are some studies that say the attitude that you bring to the doctor's office, that you bring to your treatments. Do you believe in that whole mind-body connection when it comes to childhood cancer?
I do. I think treatment and being part of the treatment is such a difficult process to go through, and having a positive outlook and working together as a team with all your care providers and every family member is really important.
So I imagine if a little one is going through something like cancer, seeing their neighbor, their classmate, their favorite uncle show up and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to put some money down, or I might even take the big step of shaving my head, certainly gives them that boost.
I think it does. You know, this event is really special. We have families that come out and friends of families, but we also have a lot of the doctors and nurses and staff that shave their heads and participate in this event as volunteers. And we have many community people. The Oakland Police always comes out in good numbers, and our fire departments and EMTs. So it's really such a community-driven event, and it's important to come out and show our support for kids that are going through treatment here.
I kind of have a question about your career. I mean, when it comes to childhood cancer research, is that in any way what you're discovering, what you're finding, having an effect on how cancer within adults is treated, would you say? Are the two combined at all?
Childhood and adult cancer are actually very different. When you think about adult cancers, you think about lung cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer. Those are not the types of cancers we see in children.
What are you seeing in children?
Typically, we see leukemias, brain tumors, tumors that affect the muscles and the bone. Now, there is an interesting overlap. It's called an adolescent young adult group, in which we do see teenagers and young adults up to 25 or 30 years of age that share similar types of cancers, leukemias and bone tumors and muscle tumors, for example.
And would you say, you know, sometimes I had a brother-in-law who was diagnosed late stage, you know, colon cancer. You know, that seems to be one question, is like, well, what stage is it when you find out that you are, or you have cancer? Is it the same with children, or do you find when children are diagnosed, is it usually later or earlier?
It's staged differently. For example, leukemia, we don't really have a staging process. But I think that it's very common that when children are diagnosed, their parents have noticed something unusual going on. And of course, the last thing they're thinking of is it's cancer. Right. But often we can find out that there are symptoms that may have been weeks to months.
Right. I've heard a lot of parents say he had a pain in his leg that wouldn't go away. His stomach kept hurting. The doctor told us it wasn't the flu. We couldn't figure it out. How can parents be more proactive? But I also don't want to scare them unnecessarily when it comes to the health of their little one.
Yeah. So childhood cancer is rare. If your child has signs and symptoms that are concerning, you should always see your pediatrician. I think your pediatricians are always thinking about the possibility of rare problems like cancer, and I would leave it in their hands to try to figure that out.
Well, you've been involved with this event for more than a decade now.
Yes.
Every year it gets better?
It's a pretty exciting event. So this is our 11th year. We hope to raise $196,000 this year, and that number will bring us to an even $2 million that our event in Oakland has raised.
That's wonderful. Let's get to $200,000. Why not make it 196?
Well,
keep it going.
I'm happy for that too. Thank you.
For more information about the event or how to donate, just go to KTVU.com. Look for it in the web link section under the Mornings on 2 tab. You can also find it on the KTVU mobile app. Dr. Caroline Hastings, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be right back.